boxing truth here. Anthony Joshua truly did get lucky against Wladimir Klitschko in their fight this past April. There's no denying it. If you have good boxing eyes, you would have seen that Joshua had a lucky day, as Wladimir Klitschko likes to call it. It was a lucky day for Joshua. I saw a young fighter who is talented, physically talented, has really tried to work on his skills since the Olympics after being gifted an Olympic gold medal in the 2012 London Olympics. He got some home cooking, whatever. But he's definitely improved since those days. I mean, this guy, Joshua, didn't start boxing until very late in his life, around 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. And to do what he's done thus far, heading into his professional career, it's significant. He's now regarded as the number one guy in the heavyweight division, and he's pretty much the biggest star in the world of boxing. In terms of ticket sales, he's the biggest draw when it comes to selling out venues. 70,000, 90,000 with Wladimir, almost 80,000 with Pulev. This guy could make money fighting anybody. But he still has a lot to prove now that he's considered number one heavyweight. He needs to prove that it was not just a lucky day, that he is truly the number one heavyweight in the world. I'm hard on Joshua because I saw Wladimir Klitschko, a 41-year-old Wladimir Klitschko, coming off a 17-month layoff, school Anthony Joshua in the majority of rounds in their fight. I had Klitschko well ahead going into the 11th round of their fight, where Joshua got a very quick bad stoppage that resulted in the win in a dramatic comeback after getting flattened to the canvas by an old man. In the 6th round, was in major trouble, and Wladimir let him off the hook. He was just one hard punch away from knocking Joshua out, but Vitaly gave him bad advice. Should have told him to go after him, be aggressive, because Joshua was done. He had nothing left after he got dropped, and for practically 3 straight rounds after the knockdown, Joshua was just trying to get his wits about him, trying to recover, was trying to survive and not get caught hard again, because he was really just one good hard punch, clean punch, hard punch to the chin away from getting flattened and KO'd and embarrassed. Almost got knocked out by an old man and Wladimir Klitschko. Wladimir showed his greatness in that fight. That fight fulfilled his legacy, that he was truly a great heavyweight of his era, his time. It was his signature fight. He chose Joshua because even though Joshua was severely untested, was just a prospect, only 18 fights at the time, didn't really beat the caliber of fighters to say that, to get the type of recognition he got even before the Klitschko fight. Even before the Klitschko fight, Joshua was considered the favorite. He was gonna smash Klitschko. He was gonna drop this chump. He was gonna send Klitschko into retirement. People were picking Joshua heavily, strongly. But in the fight, Joshua got schooled, got outboxed, showed that he's still raw. He's got a lot to work on. And he's not invincible. He can be beat, and he is a vulnerable heavyweight. He's chinny. He doesn't have the strongest chin, doesn't have the strongest defense. But Wladimir put it perfectly between the difference between Joshua and Wilder. It's just Joshua is more formidable. He has more talent. He has more physical talent. He has more skills. It's just that he's still not a finished product completely just yet. Will the Klitschko fight make him better? Yes, I believe so. I was impressed that he was able to recover, considering that he looked done after that knockdown, and for a number of rounds he was just not throwing punches, was just trying to recover, trying to survive. And Klitschko let him off the hook. Joshua recovered, and he was able to get that kind of a gift stoppage. It was a bad stoppage. So that's why I'm hard on Joshua, because to me, Joshua didn't prove that he was better than Klitschko that night. He should have been knocked out. He should have gotten flattened. He should have gotten sunned, like I predicted Wladimir Klitschko would. And I was almost right. Was very close to being right. But Joshua somehow got the victory, and now he's the man in the division. And everybody's lining up to fight Anthony Joshua. He's the most appealing fighter out there. You're going to get paid if you fight Anthony Joshua. That's why Deontay Wilder is begging for that payday. Begging for that Anthony Joshua fight. Because he's so scared that he's going to get exposed. That he's going to get knocked out before he gets the chance to fight Anthony Joshua and cash out on a huge, lucrative payday unification showdown whenever that happens. But Joshua ain't afraid to fight Wilder. I mean, he fought Klitschko in his 18th pro fight. So why would he be scared to fight Wilder? Anthony Joshua is pretty much just telling Wilder, like, yo, bro, I'm the A side. Like, get in line. You're one of many guys that want to fight me. And Joshua is going to be doing all the heavy lifting. He's already going to take on a mandatory defense with Pulev. He should beat Pulev. Pulev is a limited guy. Stands in front of him. Stands in front of you. Trash defense. Perfect style for Joshua to look explosive and look spectacular. I expect Joshua to get past his IBF mandatory defense. But now that Wilder didn't fight Ortiz, and Ortiz was not suspended by the WBC, he was not taken away from the rankings. They simply just wouldn't allow him to fight because of health concerns. Whatever. I still believe the WBC is protecting Wilder like a motherfucker. Don't want him to lose. I hope Bermain Sterling knocks this fraud the fuck out. Really hoping for that. Care less about Wilder fighting Joshua. I don't expect some windmill, technically flawed, chinny fighter to beat Joshua like Wilder. But that's why you gotta fight the fights. If Wilder can continue to win, if he can beat Stavern again, if he could actually fight a legitimate contender in the coming fights, because Joshua is gonna have to do with the heavy lifting. Now that Wilder didn't fight Ortiz, the WBA is gonna enforce a mandatory, and Ortiz is still rated number 1 by WBA. He is next in line, and that's a dangerous fight for Joshua. But Ortiz, I would like to see him get one fight in before he fights Joshua. I'd like to see where he's at. You know, if there are health concerns, I'd like to see him get a warm-up fight before he fights Joshua. But that's a good fight. And Joshua ain't going to be running scared. He ain't going to make no threats. There ain't going to be no PED drama, because Joshua and Ortiz are going to fight. It will go down if it gets mandated. There ain't going to be no controversy. There ain't going to be no pullouts. No one's going to be running scared. The fight will actually happen. But Joshua, at the end of the day, he was lucky against Wladimir Klitschko, but now he has a chance to prove that he's the best heavyweight. He needs to continue to beat the top guys, the top contenders, unified titles, to finally get credit for beating Wladimir Klitschko, at least in my eyes. And looking at the landscape of the heavyweight division, Joshua is the best right now. When you look at it, it's really by default, but right now he is the number 1 guy because the heavyweight division is not very strong. There are some name fighters, there are some good fighters, but it's not a really talented pool of heavyweights out there. I mean, there are a few guys that I would like to see Joshua fight. There are some guys I would like to see Wilder fight before he fights Joshua, just to prove that he's a legitimate champion and not a proposed fraud who's being protected by WBC. I mean, I'm looking at the WBC rankings right now, and I noticed Jarrell Miller's not rated. Like, what the fuck? Why not? Is the WBC protecting Wilder from Jarrell Miller? Like, why is Miller not rated by WBC? He's rated with every other sanctioning body, but with WBC. So Miller is being blocked from getting to Wilder because Wilder is such a chump. There are some good fighters in the heavyweight division that I would like to see Wilder or Joshua fight before they fight each other if they could continue to win and prove their legitimacy. I would like to see Wilder fight Dylan White. I would like to see him fight Adam Konicki. Adam Konicki can fight, man. That Polish heavyweight that knocked out Spilka, I wouldn't mind seeing Konicki get a shot at Wilder. He got some hands for a heavyweight. Andy Ruiz would be a decent fight for Wilder. For Joshua, I'd like to see him fight, if he gets past Pulev, I'd like to see him fight Ortiz. I wouldn't mind an Alexander Ustinov fight. A fight with Jarrell Miller would be great. Povetkin. So there are guys out there that Joshua could fight to further prove his legitimacy and to further prove that he's the best heavyweight. But maybe we'll see Joshua do that. Maybe he will prove his legitimacy because there aren't many talented pool heavyweights out there. But there are guys that I would like to see Joshua fight. There are guys I would like to see Wilder fight before they end up fighting each other if Wilder can remain undefeated, and most likely he will. I mean, he'll be protected. Watch Wilder. If he beats Stavern, he's gonna continue his cherry picking ways. He's gonna fight the least credible opponent in WC rankings. He's gonna make excuses on why other fights ain't happening, and Joshua's gonna do all the heavy lifting. He's gonna fight Pulev. He's gonna fight Ortiz. Then he's probably gonna unify with Parker, and Wilder's gonna continue to cherry pick voluntary after voluntary after voluntary, and then Joshua knocks Wilder the fuck out, exposing as Wilder as a protected fraud, and Joshua will remain supreme, and maybe finally getting credit in beating Wladimir Klitschko. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.